Step one when we come to the lab is to -5 degrees Celsius. Go ahead. Right there. Perfect. The lid has to be closed or else the temperature is just gonna be hot. It won't be -5. And then that's it. We don't touch that knob. We don't touch this knob. We don't touch anything else, just the temperature. Step two is to go get a bucket of ice. The next thing we do is set up the hood. So actually lift with both hands. Go ahead and lift. A little bit higher. Right there. So we don't want this part to be too high, just like right there is good enough. So we're taking a Kim wipe and alcohol to clean the hood from the back towards the front. So there's our gelatin. You can see that it's solid. Is liquid. Oh, cell scrapers. Boom. Okay. Okay. Show it to me so I can see. Okay. It looks. There we go. Okay. Plug this in, and then I'm going to show where I'm doing it. Okay. Normally we would autoclave all of these components, but today we're just going to ethanol this in the hood. So the first thing she did was to open up both containers and then just set the lids on top lightly. Okay, go ahead. So we're opening up our 25 ml serological pipette. Oh, hold on. Okay, so if you didn't notice, she went ahead and twisted it while it was in the wrapper to make sure that she could see the mils. So it's from 0 to 25 and it's facing her. So we can now proceed to pick up 10 mils of our wash buffer and transfer that over into our gelatin puck. The tip should never ever ever touch anything. It will give you contamination. Now, what do we do if the tip does touch something? What would you do?
Get a new serological.
Yes, you throw it away and you get a new serological pipette.
For this, do I do it dropless or is there a specific method I have to?
Just release it right there. Just release it, yeah. And then put the tip back in the packaging. Or the serological pipette back in the packaging. Perfect. Yep. Beautiful. Okay, so now she is carefully opening up our cell scraper or spatula. And she's gently going to scrape along the edges.
Go all the way down? Or
yep,
just
all the way down. Just against the wall. She's going all the way down and then back up. And then she's twisting the dish. And then she's going all the way down and then back up. The goal here is to gently detach the entire gelatin puck. Perfect. So now we are taking 50 mils of wash buffer and transferring it over into the gelatin puck. She's doing 2 25s. Notice that the tip of the serological pipette is never touching anything. This will ensure that we don't get contamination. So now we're going to aseptically pour some more wash buffer. We want to make sure that we have about 200 left over. So let's keep 300. Let's keep 300. We're going to keep 300 mils of wash buffer left over. We're going to re-sterilize our gloves with new alcohol. We're going to let it dry a little bit and then
just make sure nothing is touching.
So we're trying to make sure that the blade does not touch anything. Okay, and then make sure it's on really tight. So basically, at this point, we're gonna remove this from the sterile environment. So it needs to be like tight. Okay, so just show me. So now we bring it over to refrigerator number 2. And we're gonna go into the freezer and we're gonna flip it over. And it's going to, oh yeah, the gelatin.
Tap it?
Yeah. Okay. In here, we went ahead and closed the freezer, and here we are setting a 20-minute timer. The reason that we're setting a timer is because we have to let this freeze and crystallize. Now, if we were to forget about this, let's say for an hour or 2 hours, it will explode. It will explode, and it is dangerous. So we set a timer for 20 minutes. After that, we set a timer for 5-minute intervals until it crystallizes. Once it crystallizes, you set it for another 5 minutes and then you go to work fast. Now, depending on what the cross-linking reagents are, then that is how long it's going to take to crystallize. The more cross-linking reagents that you have in there, it may speed up the reaction or slow it down. So I've done it to where it's crystallized in 35 minutes, and then I've done it to where it crystallizes in 2 hours. So it just depends. It is finally frozen. So if you move the refrigerator, you can see that it doesn't move. It's a solid now. We're going to give it 5 minutes and then we'll proceed. So it's been 5 minutes after it crystallized. So we're going to go ahead and move on. So we're going to go ahead and set our puck right there. And we have our timer. It has to be exactly 2 minutes. So go ahead and press start on the timer and then immediately hold that down.
Down?
Yeah. Okay, so that was exactly 2 minutes. So we sprayed this in. Our wash buffer has been sitting on ice all this time because we want it to be really cold to keep the gelatin from melting. We're spraying it into the hood. Okay, so she is separating all of the 50 ml conical tubes. These have been previously labeled, and so she's going to open them and just set the lid lightly on top so that they're easier to manage. And then we're going to go ahead and put 40 mils of the slushy into each of these. And that guy too. Now don't touch the blade. Yep. Okay. Go all the way down.
Like this?
Yep. And go all the way up to the -5. So we're taking 30 mils. Perfect. So we decided to do 25 mils per 50 mil centrifuge tube. And then we're directly putting it on ice so that it doesn't melt. Okay, so we had all of our little guys on ice, and we are actually putting them all right here now in the centrifuge. They all have 25 mils of slushy, of gelatin slushy, but you can actually do 40, you can do 45. I like to do 40 optimally. Remember that they all have to be exactly 40. We're going to be using this at such a high such a high RPM that it's actually really dangerous if this is not perfectly balanced. So, okay. Go ahead and close it really well. And it's, oh, we have to start it. So you move this over here to start it. Okay, so this is the part where it can be dangerous. So we have to look at it. And if it starts shaking too much, then we need to stop it. Now, in order to stop it, you just push this back that way. But right here, this is telling us how fast it's going so far. I believe it only reaches a temperature of about 3,600, but we have to keep an eye on it. So you see how it's shaking?
RPM.
Oh yeah, RPM.
Yeah, it's doing an experiment with like plasma extraction or something, like mini prep. Then like you put the samples in centrifuge, and centrifuge overnight.
Yeah.
How long does the centrifuge for?
Oh, can you set a 4-minute timer?
Does the timer have to start?
When you start, yeah. Just do 4 anyway. It's fine.
Oh, so even though it hasn't reached?
Yeah,
4,000.
that's fine. So we're setting a 4-minute timer. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was really good. This is the smoothest that it's ever been. Okay, it's been 4 minutes. Yeah. Perfect. So that's how we turn it off. So we'll be able to see that it starts to go down in speed. But this was perfect because there was 25 mils in every single 50 mil conical tube. It was super balanced and there was not a lot of shaking. It was really nice. But the impurities are at the top, so that's what we're going to aspirate out, and you can see how it just flows. That's the impurities. So now we're aspirating all of the impurities. Can you angle it towards me, the opening? Yeah, there we go. So you can see all of this white stuff. Move your hand for a second. There we go. So all of that white stuff is actually impurities, and then when you lower the 50 mil conical tube kind of sideways, that's when you can kind of see what the liquid, that's the supernatant with impurities. So that's what we're aspirating out. So now we're going to take 20 mils of the wash buffer and we're going to place it into each of the 15 mil conical tubes that contain our gelatin slushy. And this is for a wash. It's going to be our second wash and we're trying to get rid of all the impurities. Again, see how she is paying special attention to make sure that the tip does not touch anything. So she can just keep reusing the same serological pipette for all of the tubes. Show me backwards. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now that we have aspirated the supernatant, we have to make sure that everything is the right volume. So here, this is the one with the most volume at almost 35. So we have to match. Oh, almost 30. Almost 30. So we have to match all the rest with wash buffer because they all have less than 30. So you can see that this one has 25. We have to give it more wash buffer until they're all the same so that our centrifuge is balanced. Make sure that this stays at -5 and closed up the entire time. Now that everything, now that everything is 30 mils, we can go ahead and balance the centrifuge. And we're gonna do this again. We're gonna set it to 4,000 RPM for 4 minutes. While we're doing this, we have to pay special attention to the timer. We're not supposed to touch the timer because it doesn't really work, but sometimes it will decide to turn on and work. And once it reaches 0, then you won't be able to turn on the centrifuge. So if that happens, if you notice that the timer is on 0, you have to like set it back to like the maximum, and then the centrifuge will start working again. Okay, so now we already washed it one time, so this is the second wash, and the impurities were removed really well the first time, so now you can clearly see a difference between the gelatin puck right here, and the gelatin puck right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, beautiful. And then this is the supernatant with more impurities, but there's a lot less impurities. You can really see the difference in the gelatin now. It's so nice and strong. Okay. So now we have all of our gelatin pucks, all of them. We're gonna go ahead and put them in the fridge overnight until we're ready to